All right, here are my trades for today. Had a pretty decent day. Just stayed patient and waited for all the market plays to hit those key levels. Um, I feel like the really big day yesterday set up a lot of good levels for all the stocks. Um, you know, SPY, Q, Microsoft, AMD, all of those. So basically, we're just playing all the levels in this daily here. Um, in the short term, like the next few days, I'm more bullish for a pullback now. After this hammer, but and I guess even with today's inside day, I'm still sort of bullish to get above this 440 and maybe retest the 450 or retest somewhere up here before maybe coming back down. Um, so here was my plan. This was yesterday's move, and you can see I feel like the levels are super easy to see here. Let me get my pen out. You got the inverse head and shoulders, right? So here was basically the level where change in character happened. Bulls started to get into control, be in control, and then it moved all the way up. And then overnight, price sold off pretty close to kind of these two levels right here, this high and then this kind of pull back and retest. So I notated that this pink line would be the support for a potential move up, or if that failed, I would want to get long from here, sort of for that bigger, higher time frame continuation up after the hammer. Um, Price opens up right around here. I tried it for a short and then I tried it for a long. So I tried it for a short here, got stopped out, and then tried it for a long actually at this opening range, thinking, well, I kind of felt like it wasn't going to make up its mind. So I felt like, well, the longer it holds up here, maybe it will get it back above support, and then we'll get the continuation. So I got in long. I got out at break even. Felt like it was going to compress and push down. So then I got short here, and then I added in here, and then got most of it out right here. My overall goal, I really thought it was going to get down to this 426, um, but it never did. And I'm glad that I got out of most of it here, added in some here, and gave back a little bit. I'm not sure why I let it go against me, but I gave back a little bit. My break even was more like right here, but it was a really small amount. So I liked that trade, and had it gone all the way down here, my plan initially was to get all the way out and then potentially turn around and go long because I just really liked it as a long from here. Pending that it gave the correct sort of candles and tape action, whether it bounces off or whether it broke through and then got back above. I was going to try and get long to potentially get back up here. But this was essentially that move, I guess. Okay. Real quick, I did have something crazy happen on the SPY. Uh, this opening couple minutes here after it broke down. So here was the opening range, and here's where I got short. No. Actually, I got short right here. Okay, so I didn't add in. Now that I remember. Okay, so I went long here, stopped out of break even. It broke down, wanted it to retest, but instead felt like these indecision candles, I wanted to get in at the top of those. Got in. One of these candles made a humongous wick down. And I just wanted to show that really quick on the video because it was crazy. Okay, so right here, here's the video. I have a limit order in for it to come back up and fill me right here. I just got out at break even. It flushes down. So now I have the idea that, okay, it's breaking down. It's going down towards that 426. So I want to get in on a retest or a pullback, preferably to this 432. But the longer that it kept making these dojis, just the more it just looked really weak. So I was like, okay, if I can get it to pull back right below 431 here inside this candle, I think that'll be a good enough entry for the move down, and it's a good enough risk reward. I mean, 431 to 432 is about a buck, and then this is I guess this is a $5 move. So yeah, 5 to 1. So that's good enough. But anyways, so right after I get filled, about 10 seconds into it, we get this crazy wick down. And this thing was so big that I had to sort of adjust all the parameters in my chart. I had to widen the margins and then use this hand thing to move the chart around. But this thing was down, like, this was a $70 wick, and it stayed there for like hours into the market. And I just thought that that was really annoying. It's like, here we're trying really hard to balance all the variables and make sure everything's correct, and then we enter, and then these freaking glitches show up. And so yeah, you can see here I zoomed out trying to see where I was at. It was really hard to tell. So then I widened the margins here, and then had to move it down here, and even then it was still getting all kind of goofy. But anyways, just wanted to show that. So what I traded next was the Qs here. Sort of the same thing. When I zoom out, inverse head and shoulders. It didn't come down here though. And actually I felt like it might have been making its way up. I felt like if it could get above this level here, if it could get above that level, this opening range, and then these previous levels, if it could get above it, we could go long, which is what it did later on. And so I got in super tiny. This was like a just a first entry, just for like the bigger picture, build up for it to then get long, and I was going to add in. If I go forward, it sort of did what I wanted, which is it eventually did break this level, retested, and kept going, and I would have wanted to add in, but I had other things in mind. But what I do like is that I noticed on the 1 minute here that when it sort of hit this opening range area, and I knew that was going to give it an issue, I really saw the tape change here, and even though there's not a lot of volume, it just seemed very strong to the downside, and almost like it just had one way on its mind, and that was down. And you can see here by the candles, it really was just kept going down. So I actually got out at a tiny loss, and then I turned around and went short and added in and had my stop just above this pink line here. So I know I was playing sort of the middle of the levels here, because in my mind, this was the level to play, and then this was the other level to play, sort of like SPY. And then anything below it was a breakdown, and above it was a breakout. And so getting in and out around this area is very risky. But I knew that, and so that's why I was trading light. And I don't know, I just felt confident. But it ended up working out. It went down here. I got out of most of it here, and then got out at break even here. Or yeah, the remaining got out at break even. Oh no, excuse me. Actually, let me go forward. Okay, so I got out of a lot of it, a little bit more here, and then at break even here. And you can see here, right when I got out at break even, that was sort of the inflection area to where it then turned around and went long. So what I wanted to also go over was what I'm noticing, especially on days when there's in play stocks, or when the market is in play and volatility is high. You can combine all the markets and the stocks in play, and just pick and choose which one of those you would prefer to trade. Not necessarily just because of the price differences like Nvidia or AMD, but more so, they're all giving this the same. They're all moving with a lot of money the same way. They, for the most part, they all did a inverse head and shoulders. If I go to AMD here, you can see AMD yesterday did that inverse head and shoulders, right? And so, but they all have slightly different variations of it. And so if you go around and mark levels on all of them, you might find one that you prefer more based on your strategy or how you like to enter. For example, AMD here, it sold off similarly like SPY or Qs, but it kept going, and it actually hit that shoulder area, whereas Qs never really got down to that shoulder area, right? So again, if I go to Q, the shoulder area to me is cleaner on Qs, but it never got down there. This is the shoulder area, right? Boom, 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 and it retested it a bunch of times, but it never got down there. Then you go to AMD, not quite as clean, but you have the whole psychological 110, and then I would say it was somewhere around here. Felt like the shoulder to me. I guess you could have argued that it was this 109, but again, look, there's no other spots that hit it. So that's why the Qs to me just looked the best. But say you liked 110 more, or say you also liked 110, well, Qs didn't give you that pullback, but then if you had been watching AMD, it did. So you're watching AMD. So what I'm saying is you can watch them all, put them on your side charts or continue to bounce around, maybe put some price alerts on all these stocks. And then when one of them might actually give you the move, you might be able to trade all of them, but they're not all going to move. They're not all going to get to that level where you really know you have that good risk reward. And so, this 110 here, it doesn't necessarily give you like a climactic volume or anything like that, but it does sort of compress down, make some new lows, can't keep going, give some pretty decent wicks there to go with it, and then you could get in on maybe a new 1 minute high or a new 5 minute high. And then I kind of put here, this was sort of support and then resistance, and I felt like if it could get above this, then it's even more confirmed as a long. And you can see here it breaks through it, you get a little bit more volume, and then it retests it. And then of course, you want to go towards high of day for that target, which was that 114 or sort of that 114, which was yesterday's here, and then sort of the opening range. So everything is moving really well. And then, you go to SPY and see that also didn't get all the way down to the, didn't get all the way down to the shoulder, in my opinion. The shoulder was right here, that's 426, and it never made it quite down there. It got to 427.5. So, whereas AMD would have given you that level. And here's another example. Oh, crap. Microsoft. So, Microsoft also sort of came down to its level right here, right? And then it even gave some more action, gave these big wicks, and then made a little double bottom and couldn't keep going. So you could have potentially entered there, but then it was sort of telling you, it was telling me that something was preparing here. If Microsoft is doing this and Microsoft might be breaking out, well, you want to assume that the Qs or the SPY is probably going to move somewhat with Microsoft, especially if it has a pretty significant breakout or breakdown. So I kept watching this and I kept moving the trend line here. I initially had it really small here. I noticed, okay, it's making higher lows and it's not really breaking this top area here. So I kept adjusting this and then go down a little further. And I even thought here, oh, maybe it's breaking here and it's going to flush down, but nope, came right back up and just got tighter and tighter. I just kept adjusting the trend line. Meanwhile, while I was watching this, I was just watching all the other stocks. So I was watching Tesla. Tesla. And here, what I liked about Tesla, let me go to the pivots. So Tesla did a similar, couldn't continue down, reversed up yesterday. Not as clean, in my opinion. And then today is a little bit stronger than the market. It goes up and then turns around and goes back down, but can't really break low of day, or tries to, and then gets back above. And so I'm watching, so meanwhile, I'm watching Microsoft, I'm watching the Qs, and then I'm also watching Tesla, and I'm noticing, hey, it actually might be compressing down here first, breaks down, gets back above, so sort of a failed breakdown, and then I keep watching it, and I write, okay, if it couldn't break down, if it gets back above here, it could be a long, because overall, we're long on everything for the short term, for maybe the next few days. And Tesla has earnings coming out. People are bullish on that. It's kind of oversold in reverse. So I'm more long bias, and so I'm saying if you can get above here, maybe you can be long. It gets above it, pulls back, retests. I fight it a few times, and then it does break. And if you notice here, this was at 125 is when, clear change in volume comes in. It isn't amazing, but definitely it does start to break out. Well, that is the exact same time that Microsoft's compression breaks out. So I liked both of them. I liked Tesla. I liked my idea of Tesla, but it gave different patterns. And then I also liked Microsoft's idea, but it also gave different patterns. So it just kind of depends on what you like and what you prefer here. And here would have been, Microsoft would have been a sort of compression breakout. And had you not gotten in here, I mean, you could have either gotten in here and waited and built in, or you could have gotten in with a limit order maybe to buy as soon as it broke, or waited till it breaks and then wait for the retest, because essentially we're saying, okay, hopefully new volume comes in and it's now in search of value, which is most likely a high of day, and then you just get in on the pullback, right? So lots of different ways to trade today. And if you zoom out, you could easily see the targets. Sort of this pink line was a great target, this 292.5. So yeah, 291, 292.5, and then actually, yeah, so I don't know, I can't really see a perfect clear lines from there, but you would have gotten a really good trade here. And the other thing I like about these, so out of all those setups, the one that I'm going to notate and mark down is this one. I'm going to remember this level later on. Normally when you get a really clean break like this, compression breakout, I normally want to see new, better, stronger volume here, but nonetheless, it still works. I'll mark this level as a level where bulls clearly got in control here. And so if price ever comes back down, normally the next day or a few days later, I'll want to trade around it, whether I go long above it or I'll go short below it. But Microsoft had earnings tonight, and it's already gone under it. So maybe I can use this to go short if it pulls back to it. I feel like I'm saying a lot here, but just wanted to go over how to play those market plays. And when volatility is this high, you can play all these Qs, SPYs, AMD, NVIDIA. You look at their RVOL, and most of them are going to be over 1, maybe over 2. And so just put the levels down and just only trade when it gets to those levels. And you can be picky about which one you prefer and which one's giving you a pattern that you like. And then maybe wait for the tape action to look a little bit cleaner too. Yep, thanks.